I've done jiu-jitsu for so long, and it's at a point now where it is my yoga. It is another form of yoga. It's this way of practicing something fully, like jiu-jitsu is just perpetually like you'll just always have something new to learn, right? There's always something new to learn in jiu-jitsu. So you never master it. It's just this ongoing experience. But through the process of mastering it, of experiencing it, of practicing it, there comes a point where, and I think it probably does for everybody, right? Not necessarily everybody does it this way, but it comes a point where it just starts to become this huge reflection for life, where I can see it through that lens all the time. And so now when I'm in the flow of jiu-jitsu and I'm going to class and I'm training and I'm doing all of these things, I can either put on the hat of like, okay, I'm just going to jiu-jitsu and we're just going to fucking roll, or I'm going to work. I'm going to see how it's reflecting back to me what I'm experiencing and what I'm going through. And I'm going to give you an example of that, because there was this moment where I was on bottom, somebody was on top, they had my back, they had their hooks in. This guy, I love him to death, and he's really strong and really big and was making my life horrible in this moment. Pushing down, I could barely move. He was in the process of trying to choke me unconscious. And in those moments, it was like my brain was racing. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get out of this experience. Everything I was trying to do wasn't working. So just think now, as I describe this experience of getting choked, how this applies to life, right? I was really afraid. I didn't know what to do. Definitely my nervous system was super fried and taxed at that point. I'm losing oxygen. I feel like I'm getting closer to death, even though I'm just going to pass out, right? And what I had to do in the moment in order to get out of it was to go towards it. So think of it this way, where the choke and the pain and everything that I was experiencing that was threatening me, that I was so afraid of, that I was resisting, because I was super resistant to it, right? I'm like tight-jawed, pinched up, I was very resistant to this moment. In order to get through it, I had to let go. I had to go towards the thing that I was afraid of in order to get out of it, in order to see, how to find my way through it. So I just gave in to the choke. Instead of resisting it, I relaxed. Instead of struggling against it, I moved towards it and let it, come towards me. And what that did, from like the standpoint of jiu-jitsu, was he was still trying to choke me, but suddenly I was able to find a new little tiny spot where I could continually survive and breathe, which then eventually led to me being able to get out, where because I softened a part of my body, it opened up another part where I could breathe more and I could get more oxygen and survive long enough to get out. Now, he's probably got a whole other story, right? He's probably got a whole other experience where he's like, yeah, I just, eventually let go because I'm not trying to kill you. And that's probably maybe part of it too.
I know who you're talking about.
Right.
Dude's totally trying to kill you.
Yeah, he definitely was trying to choke me out. And the realization that I had was very cool and profound in that moment. But I was thinking about jiu-jitsu from that lens and perspective of it's just this metaphor for life. I'm just constantly learning from the experiences that I have in jiu-jitsu. We have the same experiences with yoga, right? Where yoga is this metaphor for how you move in through life and everything like that. And then it was on the way home, I was like, you know what the greatest metaphor for life is? It's life. I don't need to have an experience of life in order to have a metaphor for life.
Right.
Life itself is pretty fucking awesome when it comes to a metaphor for life, right? I'm I can look at what's going on in my everyday life right now, and I don't need to externalize it and push it out onto a practice or onto a martial arts or onto a yoga or onto something else for me to be able to kind of see it. But I think that's what those things do, is jiu-jitsu gives me the opportunity to be outside of my head with things and to see it in front of me. And so I can take the problem that I'm so wrapped up in and tightly stuck with in regards to life or a decision or feeling, pent up or something like that. And I can put it out onto the mirror of jiu-jitsu and see what it's showing me. But reality, it's just reflecting life. It's the same thing. So I don't need an external thing in order to kind of like see a metaphor for life and recognize that sometimes I resist things that I just need to soften to and relax, and I'll actually be able to go through them, right? How many times do we have moments in life that we're very, very tense about and we're so scared about and we're so tense about? And the reality is if we just soften into those moments and go through those moments with a little bit more, I think, grace for ourselves and a little bit more patience and understanding for ourselves and a softness for ourselves, then those things aren't as scary, right? You'll get through those things. I don't know. I don't know if that's as profound as it was for me, but in the moment I was like, oh, I don't need a metaphor for life. Life itself is just this really good metaphor. Does that make sense?
It does. I actually think it's pretty profound. Like,
so
you
many
make
times
me want to be a jiu-jitsu person.
Yeah, it's great.
I know. It's like I've tried. I've taken like your class, which I love your class, but I've like gone out there and I've done it. And I am not.
I was thinking about it too, where
yeah.
it is, because the beginning of this episode, we're talking about like somatic stuff and being in our body and nervous system and everything like that. For men, and jiu-jitsu is not just for men, right?
Yeah.
For humans, but specifically because men, I think, are so resistant to, like, if you say on the healing journey, you need to find some sort of somatic practice, right? Yoga is a great somatic practice. It gets you in your body.
I like that one.
Breathing, dance.
These are my go-tos.
Right.
Yeah,
All
like,
of these
woo-hoo.
things that are very somatically based to get you connected to what your body is feeling and to be present in your body, right? Which is incredibly important. And I think we've talked about some examples over the course of this episode why. I don't think there's a better somatic practice for men than jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere else to be other than in your body. It immediately takes you, like, especially when you're brand new and you come in and you're like all over the place in your head, all the fear, all the anxiety, it present moment drops you right into your body because suddenly you're like, I'm choking. This person is killing me right now, right? That's the beginning part of it. But I was thinking about it rolling too the other day where it was like, I have awareness of what like my left foot is doing right now, as well as my right hand, all at the same time. I have awareness of where my weight and my hips are located right now in relation to the world around me. I have awareness of how my breathing is right now in this moment and where it needs to shift and change. So it puts me so 100% in my body that I don't have another option, right? If I'm not in my body when I'm practicing jiu-jitsu, I become it's obvious, right? Because I get choked or I have to tap or my arm breaks or something, right? Somebody will do something to me that will be like, hey, you weren't paying attention to your left arm and I'm going to break it now. And you're like, you're right. I wasn't paying attention to my left arm. Thank you for highlighting that. Now, next time I'm going to pay attention to my left arm, right? It's a really, really good somatic practice for men because it does those things. Oh. And that learning curve, you have to get over that learning curve. And eventually you get to that spot where it becomes much easier to be in your body and to be with your body and because we joke all the time too, right? Where, there's countless memes online about men in their 40s and jiu-jitsu and creaky old bodies and, but the reality is it really connects you with your body. I have awareness of the pains in my body that come from jiu-jitsu because I'm connected to my body. Like I can feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel what it needs. I can feel what it doesn't need. I can feel what's good for it, what's not good for it. Like it's a beautiful somatic practice. So if you're somebody that's like not super into breath work or yoga or, whatever else, like the idea of getting connected to your body somatically, or like if you want a good thing to tell your husband to do that secretly is going to help them heal and get connected to their body somatically, send them to jiu-jitsu. It's pretty amazing.
We were meant to be. We were meant to be.